What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got Mark Hunt talking about fighter pay, Kevin Holland's big move down, JP Buys responding to Cheyenne being in hiding, and much more. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to see more videos just like this. Now let's get into it. Mark Hunt rips the UFC over fighter pay. Mark Hunt is in the battle of his life right now, far beyond any of the giants and heavyweights he's taken on in the ring and the cage. Hunt is fighting a formidable opponent in his former employers, the UFC and Zuffa, the former owners of the promotion. Following his fight against Brock Lesnar in 2016, Hunt filed a lawsuit against Zuffa and the UFC, claiming that they knowingly put him in a bout against a man who they knew was taking PEDs in Lesnar, putting his health and money at risk. Hunt was recently ordered to pay the UFC's legal costs, but that hasn't deterred him from going off on Dana White and the Fertitta brothers, the former owners of the UFC, on social media. Hunt continues to talk about how fighter pay is abysmal for the world's biggest promotion and said as much during a recent interview. Hunt delivered a passionate rant on the MMA Hour, talking about not just fighter pay, but the UFC's hierarchical pay structure, from the champion on down. He specifically talks about how he believes the title holder for the world's biggest MMA promotion, the UFC, is the champion of, quote, nothing. This is what he told Ariel Helwani during the interview.
If you're the world champion of boxing, there's reality. You've made it to the top. You don't have to worry about money, you don't have to worry about nothing. There's the goal reached, Mount Everest. But with UFC, when you make it to the top, what do you get? Look at the champions. Don't look what I'm saying. Look at the champions of the sport. What do they got? They're sitting there complaining about money. You're the world champion of nothing.
These comments are being made as several former and some current fighters aired their grievances about the UFC structure for fighter pay, including George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, Francis Ngannou, and even Nate Diaz. Still, given Hunt's acrimonious relationship with the UFC, he doesn't begrudge any of his peers for still joining or fighting in the promotion. He's understanding that other fighters are satisfied with their pay, but says that they should have more collective bargaining power than they currently have. Still, what do you think about Hunt's comments here? Do you agree with him? And if so, how do you think the fighters should go about improving fighter pay? Sean O'Malley says he wants at least 2 fights in 2022 before going on a killing spree in 2023. Sean O'Malley is recovering from a fractured thumb he sustained in his big TKO win over Raulian Paiva in December at UFC 269. The 27-year-old is finally a ranked bantamweight at number 12 according to the latest UFC rankings. He has 5 finishes out of 8 UFC fights and is looking better and better in each fight. For 2022, O'Malley says he prefers to have 3 fights, but due to the thumb injury, there's a possibility he may only fight twice before year's end. Still, as he says in his Sugar Sunday Service podcast, O'Malley is looking to make the most of his opportunities before going on a tear in 2023.
So if I'd only fight 2, if I get one in July and in November or December, I might only get 2 this year. Fight out the contract and then boom, 2023 fat contract and just go on a killing spree.
It remains to be seen when the UFC would schedule Sugar to fight again, but he would have to recover from the injury before that could happen. But what do you make of Sugar's statements regarding this year and next year? Khamzat Chimaev has the potential to be an all-time great, says Alexander Gustaffson. Fight fans are waiting on pins and needles for Khamzat Chimaev's next fight, which has yet to be scheduled by the UFC. There's massive hype around this young fighter after he dismantled all 4 of his opponents in the UFC so far, and has even fought twice within 10 days in 2 different weight classes. He's finished all of his opponents so far in the octagon, and there's been talk of him taking on some of the top contenders in the welterweight division. One person who believes Khamzat has the makings of an all-time great is none other than former light heavyweight title contender Alexander Gustaffson. The big Swede trained alongside Khamzat for several years and knows a thing or two about Khamzat's commitment and his abilities. Just check out how Gustafsson answered Brett Okamoto's question in a recent ESPN interview, in which Okamoto asked about Khamzat's potential.
That's the level of potential, 100%. Yeah, if he does all the things, if you do it right from the start, like if he just keeps doing what he's doing now, he will be one of those guys one day. I'm 100% sure of that.
Gustafsson then goes on to talk about a hypothetical matchup against Kamaru Usman and how he believes Khamzat would knock out the welterweight champion, how Khamzat outtrains everyone in the gym, and how Khamzat is the one to watch out for in terms of potential. Gustafsson is no short on applause for what Khamzat has been able to accomplish in just 4 fights in the UFC and what's to come. The hype surrounding the Chechen Swede has been tremendous, and it remains to be seen if he can continue this momentum going forward. At the momentum, there's no fight scheduled for Khamzat, but rumors have been swirling that the UFC could book him to take on Gilbert Burns. There's also been talk about Belal Muhammad taking on Khamzat after the former called out the Chechen Swede following his win over Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. But what do you make of Gustafsson's praise of Khamzat? And do you think the hype is real? Don't forget to take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all the latest fight news. JP Buys responds to ex-wife Cheyenne Vlismas' claims that she's in hiding. In an interview earlier this week, Cheyenne Vlismas disclosed that not only is she getting a divorce from UFC fighter JP Buys, but she's been in hiding for personal reasons, not disclosing her location. The Florida native, who went 2-1 in 2021, did say she was overseas and that she was consistently training, but that's about it. It's unclear why she was cryptic with disclosing where she was and the exact reasons, only going so far as saying that it was a tumultuous year for her. But now, JP Buys, her soon-to-be ex-husband, is responding to Vlismas' claims of being in hiding, and he reposted a link to her interview on Twitter with a caption that read, "Hiding from what? In a country no one knows where she's at? Everyone here knows she has been in Batumi, Georgia with Roman, the same guy she has been having an affair with behind my back, while still married." In Roman, he means Roman Dolidze, a 33-year-old UFC fighter who hails from Georgia. But what do you make of Vlismas saying she's in hiding? And what are your thoughts on JP Buys' response here? Booked. Alex Oliveira to take on Kevin Holland in welterweight matchup at UFC 272. Kevin Holland is moving down in weight to make his welterweight debut for the UFC against Alex Oliveira at UFC 272 on March 5. The news was first announced via Holland's OnlyFans page, which isn't surprising given that he's talked about moving down to 170 pounds over the last few months. Holland has fought at welterweight prior to his move to the UFC, in King of the Cage, Extreme Knockout, and in Legacy Fighting Alliance. Since he joined the UFC in mid-2018, Holland has only ever fought at middleweight, given that he was the ex-KO middleweight champion. He believed the move down to welterweight now makes a lot of sense, as he told MMA Fighting in a previous interview that he would do well in this division.
And then make no mistake about it, I'm getting humped by these huge ass guys at 85, right? They're not doing no damage, they're just laying on top of me. So I go down to 170 pounds. If I can get up from these guys who are pretty good wrestlers at 85, I know for sure what I can do at 170.
Meanwhile, Alex Oliveira is coming off 3 straight losses, 2 by submission and 1, his last fight, by unanimous decision to Nico Price this past October. Still, the Brazilian cowboy does have big wins over Carlos Condit and Tim Means on his record, so he's no one to overlook. Holland vs. Oliveira will take place at UFC 272 on March 5th, a card that is so far being headlined by UFC bantamweight title unification fight between Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling. How do you feel about Holland vs. Oliveira? And who do you think takes this fight? Today's video was packed with some juicy stories from the fight world. What are your thoughts about what's going on in MMA? Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to see more videos just like this. And also, don't forget to comment down below to give us your thoughts on any of today's stories. See you next time.